Hello and welcome to Rock Paper Shotgun. Now it's the end of 2019, which means we scrape the last few bits of the year off our plate and get ready to stuff our faces with hype for 2020. Even though PC isn't a slave to console generations, we will hopefully see the benefits of a new Xbox and PlayStation as publishers unleash the next-gen treats that they've been working on in secret. Even without those games, we've got everything from Californian cyborg brains to unstoppable zombies to time-travelling murder mysteries. So here are our picks of 20 PC games to watch out for in 2020. Do tell us your personal picks, and if you enjoy this video as it goes along, do subscribe to Rock Paper Shotgun and make sure to select the notification bell so that you can find all our videos as we cover these games throughout the year. Now, onwards to the future. This'll confuse you. 2020 is actually going to be the year of 2077. Yes, E3 2019 was the moment that Cyberpunk finally took a practical shape. After that insane 2018 demo, we finally saw how the game works on a nuts and bolts level. In short, it looks like Deus Ex on a mega budget, a first-person RPG where your character build rewrites how missions play out, from turning machines against their masters to just evaporating gang members with handguns with the power of artillery. What elevates it to a different level to Deus Ex is that it plays out in a vast city where every district is a character bubbling with unique threats and opportunities. If you haven't already, do watch our interviews with the concept artist and RPG creator Mike Pondsmith for loads of insight into why this is one of 2020's most exciting games. Here's a good news, bad news situation. Half-Life is back, but you have to wear a funny electronic hat to play it. Trust Valve not to take the conventional route with the return of its beloved series, as this Half-Life 2 prequel, following the movements of Alex, is a VR exclusive. While some would rather put their skull inside a head crab than a VR helmet, it's still exciting to see Valve throw their best design minds at virtual reality, building a full campaign that we hope will set a new standard for what is achievable. Already we've seen disembodied hands catching ammo clips, searching shelves for resources, and slipping into gravity gloves to pluck weapons from enemies. And at the end of the day, it's just great to be back in this legendary world and listening to its legendarily dumb jokes.
You're gonna need a gun! Don't worry, it's unloaded. It's unloaded now!
If anyone can make the case for VR, it will be Valve. It's been a year since the Resident Evil 2 remake, and yet Mr. X still haunts my dreams. I can't even look at a fedora without crapping my pants. Well, bad news for my fellow afflicted, Resident Evil 3 is pretty much Mr. X the game, as Jill Valentine attempts to escape the unstoppable Nemesis and get the hell out of Raccoon City. Nemesis isn't properly shown in the trailer, but you know that guys are coming. He's a 7-foot-tall brute who looks like a cross between Bane, a haggis, and Rob Beckett. Given that Nemesis's whole deal is chasing Jill, the news that he has more tricks than Mr. X gives me cold sweats. What if he can finally get inside the save room? Oh god. The other thing of note is the 4 vs 1 multiplayer mode, Project Resistance, where the lone wolf controls enemy spawns and can steer zombies. It also has a character called Martin Sandwich. Any relation to the Jill sandwich? All will be revealed on April the 3rd. Now from Mr. X to 4X. Amplitude Studios say they've worked towards humankind since day one, that their goal was to always make a historical 4X game, and that Endless Space and Endless Legends were steps along that path. A perfect backstory for a game all about the steps a civilization takes then, starting with a prehistoric tribe and then absorbing a new culture at the end of every historical era. This pick and mix of cultural evolution is what differentiates this from Civilization, as you end up with a bizarre amalgam of technology, military units and architecture. Look at any modern city in the game and you'll see all your past decisions rubbing shoulders with the present, as tall Parisian apartments surround Egyptian pyramids or Japanese pagodas. All this boils down to accruing fame so that your chimeric culture will be remembered. Will humanity achieve that lofty goal itself? we have high hopes. This next one isn't a 4X strategy and has more interest in the triple X industries of 1920 Chicago. Yes, it's all booze, brothels and bullets in Romero Games' Empire of Sin as you invest in neighbourhood rackets and protect turf from rival mobsters in turn-based shootouts. It's all the fun stuff from the Untouchables, but without sanctimonious Kevin Costner telling everyone off. You'll be watering down booze for profits, rubbing shoulders with legendary gangsters, including the real-life grandfather of game director Brenda Romero, and there's an intriguing character system that sees each person evolve based on how you put them to work. Keep sending one henchman to plug business rivals, for example, and he might morph into a serial killer. It's this clash of twisted personalities, big gangster drama, and a gorgeous setting that has this muscling in on our must-play list. Here's my pitch for Unto the End. Your beard is your health meter. The more blood in your beard, the worse things are going for you. It's one of the 100 great touches in this side-scrolling adventure. Think Limbo meets God of War, as a barbarian hacks and slashes his way through caves and mountains. The combat system has real depth, with combat stances, fake-outs, all manner of evasive cleverness, and the ability to kick dirt in a bandit's eyes. It results in full-blooded battles, where you really feel like you're scrabbling for survival, but you don't mind if you do die, because it means you get to enjoy those chunky sword hits all over again. Trust me, this one is ace. The original Ori is one of my favourite Metroid clones, and all the sequel really has to do is inject more gorgeous art into my eyes, check, offer more platforming to give my fat fingers a workout, check, and improve the not very good combat. The last one is looking like a big check from the trailer, as Ori throws lightning spears, whacks goons with a bow staff, and gives this cheeky sod a bit of hammer time. Almost seems perverse seeing something this cute murder with such ease. Of course, looking at what he's up against, it's maybe justified. Giant spiders, giant wolves, giant owls. Basically, take any animal that enjoys Ori as part of a balanced diet and stick giant in front of its name, and voila, you've got the recipe for some epic chase scenes. And it will be on Xbox Game Pass for PC, so you don't even have to pay through the teeth to see Ori in pain between some teeth. While we're talking about Metroidvanias and teeth, that grinding sound you can hear is my jaw as I watch the Silksong trailer and spot at least 10 bosses I'm going to get stuck on for weeks upon end. This standalone quest began as plans for a simple DLC character for the original Hollow Knight, but has grown into its own adventure with over 150 different enemies, a quest system to help all the freaky bugs you meet, and a slightly faster healing system. Add that last bit to a new platform grab, and Silksong is speedier and more fluid than Hollow Knight. Why is it that games are getting faster and faster as my aging hands get slower and slower? This is a recipe for a disaster for me, but I imagine our youthful viewers will dig it. What is it with Annapurna Interactive and time loops? They gave us the repeating space exploration of Outer Wilds in 2019 and are now planning to trap us in an endless cycle of carnage in a single flat. 12 minutes sees a couple's romantic dinner go repeatedly off the rails. A man bursts in and beats you to death, which is very rude, and it gives you, yes, 12 whole minutes to try and avoid this untimely demise. Using simple point and click controls, you use the memories of past deaths to try and prepare for the future, grabbing weapons perhaps, or just trying to talk your wife into helping you. Can you learn judo in 12 minutes? I guess we'll find out. The creator cites the films of Christopher Nolan and Stanley Kubrick as an inspiration, but to me it sounds more like Groundhog Day with fewer laughs. Microsoft Flight Simulator has been grounded for 13 years as technology caught up to where they needed it to be. You see, the new Flight Simulator draws on data and textures from Microsoft Bing satellite imagery to create photorealistic landscapes for you to fly over, and then it uses Microsoft's Azure cloud tech to stream it to your game to build an accurate world as you fly over it. And that's just the static world. The same tech can fill the sky with real-time weather, and the team is looking at tracking animal migrations, natural disasters, and even car traffic. Now, I'll be honest with you, I am not a flight sim nut and can't speak to the accuracy of its planes or handling models, but I know that I want to fly over my hometown and see all the dummies blocking the roads around Stonehenge. If Microsoft can find the accessibility to allow an idiot like me to take a fantasy flight, but without compromising the simulation and detail that the fan community demand, this could be the game to bust the genre wide open. In last year's preview video, I said my New Year's resolution for 2019 was to punch off more demon heads, but then Doom Eternal slipped to 2020 and made a failure of me. I'm sad because I love punching off demon heads, and also because what we've played of Doom Eternal so far has been tremendous fun. More demons, more guns, and more bits of demons that you can shoot off with said guns. A grappling hook lets you deliver murder straight to a monster's front door, and you get a shoulder-mounted flamethrower that bakes evil flesh into shards of armour. They pop like popcorn, which is heavenly. Also heavenly? Heaven! Which is where the fight takes us in this next adventure. The opportunity to paint the pearly gates red? Who could possibly resist? Just please come out this year, yeah? Total War Does Troy is a fascinating pitch, a further step into the grey area where history meets myth, a space that Creative Assembly navigated in 2019 with Total War 3 Kingdoms, where that game was built around the big personalities that populate an exaggerated telling of Chinese history. Troy is attempting to find the logic in the mythical loopiness. So the Minotaur becomes a mad bastard wearing a bull's head, and instead of hiding your men inside a big wooden horse, you'll find other ways to exploit Trojan weakness, such as attacking cities in the aftermath of an earthquake. Three Kingdoms hero duels return, with Achilles trying to keep his heel out of trouble, and you'll also try to balance the favour of the gods, whether that's hiring priests to flatter the hippie-ish ones, or impressing Ares, the god of war, by murdering captives after battle. It may be a further step from realism, but who turns their nose up at having a god on their side? Halo Infinite's latest E3 trailer didn't really do it for us, taking a series that is at its best when you're bouncing a silly car over alien worlds, and asking us instead to get excited about a random bearded dude hanging out in his dropship. That I do remain excited for Infinite boils down to two things: rediscovering the joys of Halo Reach on PC, and rewatching the 2018 tech demo of the new Slipspace engine. You see, this demo suggests Infinite might have a bigger canvas for the adventure. Who wouldn't want to take a warthog for a Sunday drive across the grassy fields of a vast alien hula hoop? Or go for a romantic walk on a beach? Or look at this giant nostril? These are all things on my bucket list. Gears 5 took baby steps into an open world in 2019 to pretty great effect, and now it's time for Master Chief to make his move. Whatever next? Open world Cuphead? Well, as long as it ends up on my Game Pass subscription, go crazy. Desperados 3 was a highlight of Gamescom 2019 as the stealth wizards behind Shadow Tactics applied their sneaky know-how to this revival of a real-time tactics classic. Building a stealth game where everyone has very loud pistols may sound daft, but it works as you program in simultaneous moves to shoot out any ears that may hear you, or turn to a vast range of diversionary tactics to lure bandits to quiet parts of the map. Some fans are kicking off about it adding a mind-controlling witch to the team, but they seem to forget the original had a guy who attached sleeping bombs to children's balloons and then floated them over enemies' heads. If a freaking balloon assassin was okay, then Isabel's magics are fine. You can even link together character fates like Dishonored 2's domino power. It was awesome in that game, and it is going to be awesome in this game too. Why aren't more people talking about Dying Light 2? Every demo we've seen has blown us away, whether it's minute-to-minute zombie escapes that show off improved parkour and GUI combat, or the wider structure that sees mission decisions change how the open-world city functions. Make the wrong call and there are landmarks you can lose access to as evil factions move in, and there are even entire regions of the city that you might never discover. In our demo, draining a dam saw a submerged city block come bursting out of a lake. That's pretty bold thinking from a game that used to be about hiding up drain pipes to escape monsters. Perhaps Dying Light 2's quality hasn't quite sunk in yet, as it's been hands-off to date, by which I mean we can't play it. I'm not talking about all the hands you can chop off, which is still obviously a lot. Full disclosure, Paralives doesn't have a release date yet, but we include it as a gesture of hope. Specifically as a gesture of Alice's hope. She's our resident Sims nerd and has been salivating over Paralives non-stop. Imagine The Sims, but made by a smaller indie team. They're not set in their ways or part of a giant corporate machine, so are able to build exactly the thing they want. It may not sound like a big deal that you get bed sliders to turn a single into a double, or the ability to resize toilet roll holders, or the inclusion of curved walls, or the freedom to set building lot size and place it wherever you want. But if you're a Sims builder who has been working with EA's restrictions for the last 100 years, all this adds up to a really tantalising, fan-focused offering. It's still early days yet, but trust us, based on what we've seen, Paralives could be absolutely massive. Watch Dogs Legion gets a lot of attention for its whole play as any NPC in the game thing, and that is very cool. I love the idea of building a people's army from old age pensioners and presumably pelting my enemies with the rock hard mints they've had in their pockets for at least 5 years. But really the appeal is taking a trip around virtual London and reclaiming the city one dingy pub at a time. Maybe you'll be able to hack yourself some cheap tickets to the overpriced West End shows, although the bleak dystopian rulers will have probably banned Les Mis, and you don't want to give people any ideas of revolution. I feel quite bad for Bloodlines 2. It's the sequel we never expected to have, and now all we do is pick on it for its ropey combat. Given how much the original was hobbled by rush development, it's a big sigh of relief to see this push back for some much needed polish, because ignoring the weird weightless combat, there's plenty to get excited about here, like the fact you can play as a vampire barista. That's one of the character backstories anyway. I guess if you can manage 20 different coffee orders at once, you're all set to negotiate between a couple of vampire factions. Throw in a cool Seattle setting, one of the best takes on vampire lore of all time, and a new system that lets you drink people's emotions like a big sad milkshake, and there's plenty to be hopeful for. Minute of Islands was a highlight of EGX Berlin 2019. It looks like a playable cartoon as you guide a beautifully animated heroine across huge hand-drawn landscapes, trying to wake up ancient machinery hidden across islands. It's a sweet mix of puzzling and platforming, but with some seriously sinister undertones, as our hero trots past rotting animal carcasses and wakes up creepy giants. You can see a lot more of this in our video from EGX Berlin, so do click on the link, hopefully popping up on screen now. From cheery cartoon islands to a bleak nuclear winter, what better way to celebrate this frosty time of year? Of course, we don't get to brave the cold in a massive tank thing. This vehicle is not just for navigating the map, but can drive into turn-based combat encounters, crushing enemies underfoot and laying down support fire. It's a bit like if the Batmobile from Batman Begins was a party member. Sadly, you can't romance it. Dating a car is one of the few things you can't do in Exile's latest. Character skills, party composition, and conversational smarts can have a huge impact on how every mission plays out. Not that surprising given the game's RPG heritage, it's very much a proto-Fallout, but this is looking a lot shinier than Wasteland 2. Must be all that Microsoft green. In Exile became a first-party studio last year. And those are just a few of the hundreds of interesting games on the horizon. It was a bit of a nightmare whittling them down. I'd love to hear your personal picks for 2020, so definitely put them in the comments. Then we'll do our very best to make sure we cover them in detail as the year unfolds. If you enjoyed this video, you can support the channel through our Displates store. Please do use the link to check out our personal picks. There's over 500,000 designs, and Displates' unique metal posters are built to last, and they use a magnet mounting system system that doesn't involve drilling into your walls with power tools, which is a good thing. And not only will you be supporting the channel, but you'll be supporting the environment. For every displate sold, a tree gets planted. Anyway, I hope you found this video useful. I know it's dumb to get sucked into the hype cycle, but it's nice to have something to look forward to, right? I really hope you'll join us in 2020 to cover all these wonderful PC games. We've been having loads of fun on the channel in 2019, and we'd love for you to subscribe and join us for more. So we will hopefully see you soon. Bye for now.